We are in chapter 6. I think it is text 7. Yeah. For one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. Yes. Let's read the purport. Actually, every living entity is intended to abide by the dictation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. Yes. When the mind is misled by the external illusory energy, one becomes entangled in material activities. Therefore, as soon as one's mind is controlled through one of the yoga systems, one should be considered to have already reached the destination. Yes. So once you start listening to yourself, once you start listening to subconscious, you will see everything is becoming smooth, easy, and you are living in sort of a float, because it doesn't matter if you are very happy or very sad, you are somewhere in the middle. So abhi, after continuously listening to subconscious and respecting yourself, what will happen that gussa to aega, but it will not stay for like 1 hour or something. Gussa aega, 10 minute rahega, chala jayega. So you will have that capability to overcome that and bring your mind, state of mind back to tranquility, right? Because you are in that acceptance mode and you are listening to your subconscious and you have got the idea, right? One has to abide by superior dictation. When one's mind is fixed, hi, come. When one's mind is fixed on, 1 second, I just changed my glasses. When one's mind is fixed on the superior nature, he has no alternative but to follow the dictation of the Supreme. The mind must admit some superior dictation and follow it. The effect of controlling the mind is that one automatically follows the dictation of the Paramatma or Super Soul. Yes. So it will become very effortless. That's what they're trying to say. Because this transcendental position is at once achieved by one who is in Krishna consciousness. The devotee of the Lord is unaffected by the dualities of material existence. So, I hope you know now what is the duality of material existence, good and bad. So, we are okay with the good and we are okay with the bad also. We come to that state of mind, namely distress and happiness, cold and heat, etc. This state is practical samadhi, or absorption in the Supreme. Yes. Let's move to text 8. A person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. Yes. Let's read the purport. Sorry, I didn't finish. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. Let's read the purport. Book knowledge without realization of the supreme truth is useless. This is stated as follows in quotes from Bhakti Rasamrata Sindhu 1.2.234. No one can understand the transcendental nature of the name, form, quality, and pastimes of Sri Krishna through his materially contaminated senses. Only when one becomes spiritually saturated by the transcendental service to the Lord are the transcendental name, form, quality, and pastimes of the Lord revealed to him. Yes. This Bhagwat Gita is the science of Krishna consciousness. No one can become Krishna conscious simply by mundane scholarship. One must be fortunate. So, we have seen so many people who just say, but when it comes to implementation in their own life, they behave differently. So, what we are trying to say is that that is all bookish knowledge if the person is having. So, I have seen people who are in like art of living, or who have done some life coaching, or who have, excelled in, they've got some certification in relationship coaching or something. But in their own lives, they are failing. They are failing what they know. It is as similar as, there are people who have done so much into fitness, so much study in their body and everything that they are able to tell others what to do, but they are unable to resolve their own issues. You know, like, so these are all like बोल बच्चन बोलते हैं ना, जब नॉलेज सब पता है लेकिन फायदा क्या उसका नॉलेज का जब खुद ही नहीं इम्प्लीमेंट कर पा रही है ना. No one can. Okay. One must be fortunate enough to associate with a person who is in pure consciousness. A Krishna conscious person has realized knowledge by the grace of Krishna because he is satisfied with pure devotional service. By realized knowledge, one becomes perfect. By transcendental knowledge, one can remain steady in his convictions. But by mere academic knowledge, one can be easily deluded and confused by apparent contradictions. It is the realized soul who is actually self controlled because he is surrendered to Krishna. He is transcendental because he has nothing to do with mundane scholarship. For him, mundane scholarship and mental speculation, which may be as good as gold to others, are of no greater value than pebbles or stone. Yes. Let's move to text 9. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral, mediators, the envious, friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. Yes. So this text does not have a purport, but I would like to say that these people who are Krishna conscious, they don't distinguish between a friend and an enemy. They will still keep their perspective very objective because they are Krishna's son or Krishna's child, right? So it's always progressive to remain objective in our perspective rather than subjective, right? So objective is what is the aim of interacting with someone, what is the goal of interacting or keeping relationship with someone. If he is an enemy still, what is the goal of ensuring that you are in touch with your enemy? It's just to understand a different perspective and whether it is beneficial to move ahead in our goal. So many a times people, they have this, बोलते हैं ना, चश्मा पहन के रखा है, कुछ दिख नहीं रहा है ठीक से, तो ये निकल जाएगा. So when you are able, okay, there is a person whom you hate a lot, and if that person is doing something nice for the society, you will still think that okay, she's doing something nice for the society because she wants validation. It's not out of pure love. But if you look at it objectively, you will see that okay, उसका अच्छा करने से कितना अच्छा हो रहा है. So this is a good quality. You will be able to appreciate things. Let's move to text 10. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. Yes. This is mine, ये मेरा है, ये सब अभी आए. Let's read the purport. Krishna is realized in different degrees as Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna consciousness means concisely to be always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. But those who are attached to the impersonal Brahman or the localized super soul are also partially Krishna conscious because the impersonal Brahman is the spiritual ray of Krishna and the super soul is the all pervading partial expansion of Krishna. Yes. Thus, the impersonalist and the mediator are also indirectly Krishna conscious. A directly Krishna conscious person is the topmost transcendentalist because such a devotee knows what is meant by Brahman and Paramatma. Yes. His knowledge of the absolute truth is perfect, whereas the impersonalist and the meditative yogi are imperfectly Krishna conscious. Yes. So you can be Krishna conscious, but it may be 50% and there's someone who's 100%. Yeah, so there are various degrees to it, like Brahman, Paramatma, and Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are degrees to it. So what they are saying is that at least start somewhere. If at least if you are yogi, then at least you will get to at least imperfect Krishna consciousness, and maybe from there you will get the way to perfect Krishna consciousness. But the only request over here is to start. Nevertheless, all of these are instructed herewith to be constantly engaged in their particular pursuits so that they may come to the highest perfection sooner or later. The first business of a transcendentalist is to keep the mind always on Krishna. One should always think of Krishna and not forget him even for a moment. Concentration of the mind on the Supreme is called samadhi or trance. In order to concentrate the mind, one should always remain in seclusion and avoid disturbance by external objects. So, here the meaning by remaining seclusion doesn't mean that you go in the jungle and sit. It means remaining in seclusion means you don't remain in mental connection with anyone. So, if you're doing something, you're doing it alone in your room, you do it with full focus. Your mind should not get connected with other people around you or in your thoughts, right? So, one should always think of Krishna and not forget him even for a moment. Concentration of the mind on the Supreme is called samadhi or trance. In order to concentrate the mind, one should always remain in seclusion and avoid disturbance by external objects. He should be very careful to accept favorable and reject unfavorable conditions that affect his realization. And in perfect determination, he should not hanker after unnecessary material things that entangle him by feelings of possessiveness. Yes, all these perfections and precautions are perfectly executed when one is directly in Krishna consciousness, because direct Krishna consciousness means self abnegation, wherein there is very little chance for material possessiveness. Yes. So, when what is material possessiveness? That this is my side of the bed, this is my bottle, this is my laptop, these are my things. Sooner or later, you will get rid of these possessiveness of material things because you will completely rely on Krishna. तो कल को अगर कुछ टूट भी गया तो you will feel that अरे I was not instructed to take it away because it was meant to break. So this kind of realization will start coming in very soon. If कुछ भी अगर छोटी बात भी होती है, थॉट आ जाता है कि ये कर लो, देन वी स्टार्ट क्वेश्चनिंग, ये अभी क्यों करूं, बाद में करती हूँ, लेकिन तभी करना ही होता है क्योंकि वो दैट इज इन द प्लान, दैट इज इन कृष्णा's प्लान. So we should just respect his plan because his plan is for our benefit. We must have that faith. So when we have that faith, we will start losing attachment to these material things and we will grow more and more attached to self. Srila Rupa Goswami characterizes Krishna consciousness in this way. In quotes from Bhakti Rasamrata Sindhu 1.2.255 to 256. When one is not attached to anything but at the same time accepts everything in relation to Krishna, one is rightly situated above possessiveness. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without knowledge of its relationship to Krishna is not as complete in his renunciation. Yes. तो जैसे बोलते हैं ना किसी को मना नहीं करना चाहिए तो जो कुछ आ रहा है तो आने दो मना मत करो ये so let it happen basically don't control it a Krishna conscious person well knows that everything belongs to Krishna and thus he is always free from feelings of personal possession. I will give you an example of Ravan. Ravan took birth on earth because he wanted to get freed from the curse that the some of the sadhus had given him in Vaikuntha. Okay, he was a guard of Krishna and Radha in the palace of Vaikuntha, and he did not allow few pandits to come in, and he was cursed. And now he was feeling very bad that he got cursed, and he wanted help. He asked for help from Krishna. Krishna said, "Okay, you have to conquer that ego. Okay, you have to conquer that ego so that finally you will get rid of that negative emotion." So he took birth as Ravan. Although his devotion was very pure, this was the life in which he had to overcome his ego. And Krishna gave him lot of opportunities to overcome the ego. That listen to your brother, listen to your wife, leave Sita, surrender, otherwise you will die. So when he got killed by Ram, that is the moment when he realized that what he was doing and how he has finally is free from all his sins and he is going to go back to Vaikuntha, to Krishna. So the this is how he Krishna manifests the life situations for you to make you learn again and again so that you are free from the feelings of possessiveness. So if let's say you're possessive about your specs, he will make sure that it breaks so that you get out of it. So many things happen, they don't happen to us, they happen for us to grow out of it, right? As such, he has no hankering for anything or his own personal account. He knows how to accept things in favor of Krishna consciousness and how to reject things unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. He's always aloof from the material things because he's always transcendental and he is always alone, having nothing to do with persons not in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a person in Krishna consciousness is the perfect yogi. So once you gain some of the consciousness and when you start following your consciousness, you will notice that people who are not in Krishna consciousness starts moving away from you automatically. It's like the frequency. Your frequency is now matched. So only those people will come to you. They will start attracting to you. This is the law of manifestation also in some way. Let's move to text 11 and 12. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. Okay, let's read the purpose. Sacred place refers to places of pilgrimage. In India, the yogis, the transcendentalists, or the devotees all leave home and reside in sacred places like such as Prayag, Mathura, Vrindavan, Rishikesh, and Hardwar. And in solitude, practice practice yoga, where the sacred rivers like the Yamuna and the Ganges flow. But often this is not possible, especially for Westerners. The so called yoga societies in big cities may be successful in earning material benefit, but they are not at all suitable for the actual practice of yoga. One who is not self controlled and whose mind is not undisturbed cannot practice meditation. Therefore, in the Naradiya Puran, it is said that in Kali Yuga, the present Yuga or age, when people in general are short lived, slow in spiritual realization, and always disturbed by various anxieties, the best means for spiritual realization is chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Nama, Hare Nama Vai Nam Namaiva Kevalam Kalau Nashti Eva Nasti Eva Gatir Anyatha. In quotes, in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance means delivered from all the evils, we say that way, delivered from all the negative emotions, is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other. So this is the truth. So the more we chant Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, the more we move towards self-realization. And it is a magic. It happens. Let's move to text 13 and 14. One should hold one's body, neck, and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, and one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. This is Krishna saying. Let's read the purport. The goal of life is to know Krishna, who is situated within the heart of every living being as Paramatma, the four-handed Vishnu form. Yes. The yoga process is practiced in order to discover and see this localized form of Vishnu and not for any other purpose. The localized Vishnu Murti is the plenary representation of Krishna dwelling within one's heart. One who has no program to realize this Vishnu Murti is uselessly engaged in mock yoga practice and is certainly wasting his time. Krishna is the ultimate goal of life, and the Vishnu Murti situated in one's heart is the object of yoga practice. To realize this Vishnu Murti within the heart, one has to observe complete abstinence from sex life. Therefore, one has to leave home and live alone in a secluded place, remaining seated as mentioned above. One cannot enjoy sex life daily at home or elsewhere and attend a so called yoga class and thus become a yogi. One has to practice controlling the mind and avoiding all kinds of sense gratification, of which sex life is the chief. In the rules of celibacy, written by the great, celibacy means brahmacharya, written by the great sage Yagnavalkya, it is said, Karmana manasa vacha sarvavastatsu sarvada sarvatra maithuna tyago brahmacharyam prachakshate. The vow of brahmacharya is meant to help one completely abstain from sex indulgence in work, words, and mind at all times and under all circumstances and in all places. No one can perform correct yoga practice through sex indulgence. Brahmacharya is taught, therefore, from childhood when one has no knowledge of sex. Children at the age of 5 are sent to Gurukul or the place of the spiritual master, and the master trains the young boys in the strict discipline of becoming the brahmacharis. Without such practice, no one can make advancement in yoga, whether it be dhyan, jnana, or bhakti. One who, however, follows the rules and regulations of married life, having a sexual relationship only with his wife, and that also under regulation, is also called brahmachari. Such a restrained householder, brahmachari, may be accepted in bhakti school, but the Jnana and Dhyan schools do not ever admit householder brahmacharis. They require complete abstinence without compromise. In the Bhakti school, a householder brahmachari is allowed controlled sex life because the cult of Bhakti Yoga is so powerful that one automatically loses sexual attraction being engaged in the supreme service of the Lord. In the Bhagwat Geeta 2.59 it is said, Vashaya, Vashya, Vashyaya विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिना रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते. Whereas others are forced to restrain themselves from sense gratification, a devotee of the Lord automatically refrains because of superior taste. Other than the devotee, no one has any information of that superior taste. Yes. Vigata Bhi, one cannot be fearless unless one is fully in Krishna fully in Krishna consciousness. A conditioned soul is fearful due to his perverted memory, his forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with Krishna. The Bhagavatam 11.2.37 says, Bhayam Dvitiya Vishata Syad Ishad Apetasya Viparyayo Smriti. Krishna consciousness is the only basis for fearlessness. Therefore, perfect practice is possible for a person who is Krishna conscious. And since the ultimate goal of yoga practice is to see the Lord within, a Krishna conscious person is already the best of all yogis. The principles of the yoga system mentioned herein are different from those of the popular so-called yoga societies. Yes. Let's end here with Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Let's do some Radha Jap. Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha. Hare Krishna, everyone.